We're good. We're live.
Hey, Lookouts fans, Alex here. Welcome to a slightly delayed edition of Lookouts Look In. It is episode 4 today. Sorry about those technical difficulties. It is a very special all aboard blog edition, which means we're going to focus on the action on the field and talk some baseball, Lookouts, Twins, and baseball as a whole. And to help us out today, we are very excited to be joined by Lookouts Public Relations Director Dan Kopf. Dan, how are we doing today?
Doing great.
Awesome. So, Dan, tell us what makes this edition of Lookouts Looking special with the All Aboard blog. Tell folks a little bit about the blog and what they can find on there. And then also, tell us about yourself. What makes you qualified here today to tell people what's going on in the world of baseball?
Sure. Well, our All Aboard blog started by one of our interns, Jeremy. And it's just a great way to keep up on the news and notes of Lookouts baseball. So we, publish interviews. We did one with Jake Maurer recently. Hopefully we'll have one up with Tripper Hildenberger that we did a while ago. Just a great way to come and,
we did
really
part 1 of Jake Maurer, right?
Yes,
So we'll have part 2
way.
coming up. A very comprehensive sit down with 2017 Lookouts manager, Jake Maurer.
And we'll post game notes on there and all that kind of stuff. So just a lot of good stuff. And you might hear some background noise because we have an awesome event at the park. But we'll just ignore that and soldier on.
I'm sorry, just for 1 second. So usually Dan is the person behind the camera here, and we've done 3 of these. Everything has been 100% smooth, solid. Today we asked ticket operations manager Aaron Glackman to come up here, and through no fault of his own, we had a frozen phone issue to get started off late. There was some weird noise just in the corner. Now we got some folks with Vision Hospitality here doing a couple home run calls, and poor Aaron is just running around back there trying to do everything he can to keep the train on the tracks, but I think you got it now. You're ready to go.
Seems like it's off the tracks, but
if you guys have questions, feel free to put those in the comment section. Aaron will hopefully share those with us, and we can answer those. Now, Dan, I was excited to do this one. I even wore my 2017 Lookout Southern League Championship T-shirt just to show off. I am excited for opening day. We are about 111 days or so away from April 5th. Going to be super awesome here. But let's take a look back to last year. Obviously, the Lookouts finished the season as the Southern League champions along with Pensacola. But they had an unbelievable season on the year, had a 91-49 record, which I believe set a modern-day record for the Lookout for wins in the regular season. Now, in the minor leagues, teams can be good for so many reasons. They can have incredible prospects. They can have guys that have been together for a few years and have really learned to understand the minor league game. They can just be a group of guys that have come together and great coaching and everything like that. What was it this year that made the Lookout so special? They had guys going up and down all year long, but no matter what, they just kept winning.
Yeah, I mean, when you go back to 2015, when we won, the big thing about that team, we had heralded prospects. You had Miguel Sano, you had Byron Buxton, Jose Barrios. This year's team was very different. I mean, you had Nick Gordon, who was very heralded, very good shortstop.
Especially early in the season, but in the second half, wasn't necessarily the player he was in the first half.
Right, in the second half, we were really buoyed by trading deadline. We added Zach Littell, who finished 19-1, and he was fantastic. And Gabriel Moya, who led the league in saves.
Littell was 19-0, wasn't he? Was he?
No,
never mind. Sorry, I was hoping.
Really good, and our bullpen was just fantastic. John Curtis, he went up later in the year, but our pitching was just fantastic. And we had everybody, and probably one of the biggest Lookout stars, so everybody loves, John Rodriguez. He was an MILB free agent who we picked up and just really came on hot on late.
What would you say, how big of an impact did the coaching staff have last year on the outcome on the field?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, Jake Maurer, he was very laid back.
Southern League Manager of the Year.
Yes, Jake Maurer. He's just very laid back, and the guys just really responded to him. We had Javi Valentin and Ivan Ortega. It was just a great staff.
Awesome. And of course, the Lookouts weren't the only one in the Twins system to have success last year. Several of their minor league teams did really well. Cedar Rapids made the playoffs. And of course, the Twins themselves had a tremendous turnaround bounce back season. They're 85 and 77, I believe. Won the wild card last year. Unfortunately, lost to the Yankees there. We're going to, of course, talk about some of our players that were on the Twins this past season in just a minute. But looking ahead to 2018, what's the big thing that the Twins really need to improve, really need to add to be able to take that next step as one of the premier teams in the American League and try to get that division title away from the Indians?
Yeah, I believe the big thing is bullpen. And it's one thing that they kind of worked on towards the end, and a lot of former lookouts actually helped with that, including Trevor Hildenberger, who is awesome. He's a side armor who we had last year, and he's just fantastic. But he was a huge asset to them, and I think we're going to see a lot more former lookouts, make that impact, and that's what they're really hoping for.
Do you think you see now the Twins historically aren't often the most active team in free agency, but do you see either through a trade or any free agents that are out there that you've heard that might be targets for the Twins?
Yeah, we're actually a new regime, which they've been trying, I think, very active to kind of get their own imprint on the organization. They already signed Michael Pineda, who was a Seattle Mariner and then a Yankee. So he's
at one point a very highly touted prospect, has had injury troubles, but certainly someone who could bounce back and get kind of that late in career renaissance that you often see with pitchers, especially ones that have struggled from injury.
Yeah, maybe not this year, but at least next year they're kind of putting their sights towards the future on that one. And then hopefully, there are lots of rumors about trades, so you never know what kind of splash they'll make.
Now, the big rumor, obviously totally unsubstantiated, but the big name that's been flown out there is Garrett Cole potentially being a target. What type of impact would that have for the Twins to be able to really get that ace? And how would that help some of the younger pitchers, such as Jose Berrios, who's, of course, with us in 2015, as he looks to take that step, to the sort of front half of the rotation as a strong 2 or 3 position starter?
Yeah, well, if you add Cole along with Santana and Berrios, as you mentioned, that's just a really strong rotation. It'll be interesting to see if they can make a splash like that. But one thing about Cole, which I was reading with a lot of the stats and all that baseball stat stuff. One thing, Cole gave up a lot of hits towards center field, and the Pirates didn't really have the best defensive center fielder at the time. So, you pair it with Byron Buxton, you could really have a great season with the Twins if they manage to pull it off.
Yeah, now Byron Buxton is a guy who came in here as 2015, I believe, as the #1 rated prospect in all of minor league baseball. The guy was, probably the most athletically talented human I've ever seen, in person. The fastest human I've ever seen. The way that even when he's just like jogging, when they're warming up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he's just moving way faster, and just how easy it is for him just to cover huge.
He glides. He doesn't make it look difficult.
There you go. Glides is the cool word. But, they had so many guys like that. And, Buxton is a guy for a couple of years when he first went up. Might have not been exactly the player that fans were hoping for right away. But it certainly takes a lot of time to kind of ease into, that role. It's a big deal moving up to the major leagues, especially on the offensive side of it. He really started to find his own last season. Of course, won the Gold Glove Award, and not just that, won the Platinum Glove Award. So, we're going to play a little game here to kick off, starting about some of our former Lookouts players. I'm going to say one of our former Lookouts might be a current Twin, might be someone who was with us when we were with the Dodgers organization as well, because we don't want to forget about them. They had a great season as well. We can potentially, do you think, Dan, what kind of prize should Dan win? We'll find something. Is there any of your pretzel left over there, Aaron?
Oh, no. No, that's long gone.
That's gone. It's all right, Dan. I'm going to throw out a name of a former Lookouts player, and you tell me just kind of the first impression or first thing that comes to mind. We'll start it off with the guy we were just talking about. Keep it easy. Byron Buxton.
Best defensive center fielder I've seen.
Ever.
Is
that include on TV?
No, because Griffey.
Because of Ken Griffey Jr., we got soft spot there.
In person.
But potentially has a chance. That's the kind of direction that he is going for sure. Corey Seager.
Family. I think of Kyle Seager. I think of his parents being in the stands watching him playing while streaming games of Kyle.
Oh, they were here like
playing.
every day.
Yeah,
One day,
awesome.
one time I went up, I was handing out coupons or something, had no idea that it was Corey Seager's parents sitting up there, but I need to get a photo for the sponsor, so I'm handing out the coupons. I'm like, can I get a photo of you holding up the cards? And Mr. Seager's like, oh yeah, sure, 1 second, just my other son's up to bat, and I see he's got the iPad propped up on the cup holder there, and he's watching that because he's watching the Mariners game, and to see him, and while being here in person to watch Corey play. Max Kepler.
Multiple languages. Because he was German, so he spoke German, Spanish, English, and could have spoken one more.
3 fluent, but those people, he probably
yeah.
speaks a little Japanese in there, as well.
He was one of the nicest guys and did lots of interviews. He did interviews in German and English sometimes. Someone from Germany, they flew someone over to speak to him. He was just a great guy. And
for anyone who doesn't know, definitely read up. He has a super, super cool story. Max Kepler was the first German-born Major League Baseball player. When he was, 14, 15, that's when all the big soccer academies and everything like that tried to start recruiting kids in Germany. He was recruited by a couple of the top ones, rejected it because he had fallen in love with baseball and wanted to play baseball. And he really is, he's kind of a known thing over there. And the person that came over, that was essentially like the 60 Minutes of Germany, came over here to do a story because still people are like, you gave up a potential career in soccer or football to go try to play baseball in America. So, and I always think Kepler, and he had 19 home runs last year. He's just one of those guys that, just seems solid. And 8 years from now, you're going to look back and be like, wow, he's a pretty good player.
And he still hasn't been playing baseball that long either.
No, he started when he was 15, 16, something like that. Justin Turner.
Big red beard. And interesting thing about Justin Turner, he is a former lookout, but not from when we were affiliated with the Dodgers.
I know, it's very confusing. We actually missed him once when we put in. We do have a great picture of him, sans beard, that I think was shared by minor league baseball as well. But definitely clutch playoffs is what I'm thinking about right now because he really helped the Dodgers get super close there. And then, of course, Clayton Kershaw. He was a one-day lookout, but still a very important lookout.
Humble. This guy, that day, which was a sellout, comes into the office and asks to buy tickets. Wants to know where he can get tickets. It's like, you're Clayton Kershaw. You don't need tickets. So Clayton's he was really nice, really awesome. We did a press conference with him, and it was just one night that I know neither of us will probably forget.
No, it was super awesome. Anytime on a Wednesday night, you have 6,300 people here, or Tuesday night, whatever day of the week. It wasn't a Friday. I remember that. Miguel Sano.
I think of his Sano glove that they did in the Twins. He was
great.
Yeah, he also.
That's what you think of. You don't think of big power hitter, great arm.
I also think of his pet monkey that he tells stories about, which he had in the Dominican Republic. But yeah, he was just. He hit the ball farther than I think any lookout here has. He just crushed the ball. I'm pretty sure he's hit it over the scoreboard once or twice.
Another guy I mentioned before, Trevor Hildenberger.
Side armor. He's different arm slots, and he would just make batters look silly. And also another really great kid.
Now, if I recall from our article that we had in our program a couple years ago that you can look for on the Lookouts All Aboard blog, we'll repost that up this week at some point. But now, he was at a point when he was in college where he was basically done with baseball.
Nope.
He had sort of felt like he had capped out as far as he was going to go, and then something changed.
And he was part of the Cal program, which disappeared and then came back. Yeah, he almost decided he didn't want to pitch anymore. But then his coaches convinced him, and he got drafted, and now he's a major leaguer.
And was that when they is that when they taught him the sidearm? Was that towards the end, or had he already been doing that and then just sort of, after the program looked like it was going to fold?
I think it was something he honed as
he
went on.
And we have a question.
Ken wants your thoughts on Yasiel Puig.
Yasiel Puig was fortunately the year before we got here.
Right before
we got here. So we missed Puig mania, but I'm sure he was, from all the stories we heard, he was just dynamic.
Yes, interesting, great character, a guy who loved the game, and someone that still one of the number one people that people ask about. Oh, Yasiel played for you guys, right? You say, yes, he did for a few weeks right before we got here, unfortunately. It's a good one to end it there. Now, Dan, just kind of in general in the baseball world, big trade happened over the weekend where Giancarlo Stanton went from the Marlins to the Yankees. What is your reaction when you heard that news?
Did it have to be the Yankees? Gosh.
It's always the Yankees.
It's always the Yankees. It kind of pains me a little bit when you see teams like that, like the Marlins, trade a big player like that for not a lot, but, it's going to be fun to see him and Judge just bash home runs.
Yeah, I mean, the Yankees, it seems like they're winding back the clock to kind of what they did the first time, where you get that core of youth that will hopefully be with them for a long time, and then just start writing checks and filling in the pieces from there. So hopefully they don't quite rise to the same level of dominance they had sort of the end of the 90s, early 2000 there. Now, you mentioned at the very beginning that you were at the Colorado Springs Sky Sox, and that was the 2012 season?
Yes, 13.
2013
yes,
season,
13
yes.
season.
2013, our first year here was 2014. They had a couple guys that the Rockies had a great year last year as well. All three of the teams that you had been affiliated with, the Rockies, the Dodgers, and the Twins, all made the playoffs last year.
Awesome.
And there were a few of the guys that you worked with, or on the team when you were with Colorado. Any of those guys really jump out? And who from that era in your baseball career is the guy that you're going to be like, it was cool that I got to be that closely associated with X?
Yeah, there's actually probably a couple. That team was so good. Nolan Arenado was the guy. I mean, he was the guy. He wasn't even that
Now, was he
heralded at the time.
He wasn't
in the middle of the pack.
Did he mash when you were there?
The first game, he smacks a home run, and Colorado Springs has a little mountain on their video board, right over the mountain.
So over the video board?
Over the video board.
Over 500 feet, probably?
Yeah,
let's say. We can go for it.
Yeah, and, I mean, it was thin air, but it was amazing. I mean, it was fantastic to see. And he's also the best defensive third baseman I've ever seen. He's amazing.
Now, was Charlie Blackmon there when you were there as well?
Charlie Blackmon was there. Corey Dickerson was there. DJ LeMahieu was there.
You've lost me now. Oh, actually, no, I know him.
Yeah.
I know. He's a second baseman.
Yeah.
I really tried to get him on my fantasy team, but the auction was too high, the bidding price.
It's kind of, makes sense.
Oh, no, he was kept. That's what it was. Anyways, sidebar. There's a story that you always, anytime in baseball, you sometimes get these weird opportunities to be able to go to cool places or do something cool. Colorado Springs is about, an hour south of Denver, hour and a half,
kind of.
And at that time, the Sky Sox were affiliated with the Denver or the Colorado Rockies.
Right.
And you guys had a bobblehead night, and you
Yes.
got to do something cool and go up to Coors Field.
Yes, I got to load my car with Vinny Castilla bobbleheads. On my way, they closed the highway for some reason, so I had to go.
For some reason. This was on a game day,
This
too,
was
right?
on a game day, yes. So this was like, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I had to go through back roads, which in Colorado Springs is basically off-roading at that point. So I got up to Denver, and I had to get Vinny Castilla to sign all the bobbleheads, which was kind of awesome. So they set me up in this room, and bobbleheads, they come in those styrofoam.
I'm well aware.
Yes. So here I am, unboxing them all, making a giant mess in the Colorado Rockies in Coors Field's
Now, is Vinny
press room.
Castilla in there at this point?
No, not
Okay.
yet. But then he walks in, and there's it looks like it's snowed because I have styrofoam everywhere, and I'm just like, hey, can you sign these? And he just knocks them all out, and he is huge. He is a really, really big dude. Really nice dude too.
Much bigger than the rendering of his bobblehead.
Yes, much, much bigger. And then I packed them all up kind of because they don't really fit back in. So it was kind of a mess. And then I had to sit there and pick all the little.
So you didn't leave it a mess?
No.
Did you ask for a vacuum?
Mm-mm. I was just on the floor as an intern, just
Picking up things after Vinny Castilla, and then
Yeah.
and then you got the bobbleheads back.
And
Were
then-
they like a raffle, or was it like a mystery? Was it just a couple random people get an autographed bobblehead? What were the autographed ones specifically?
It was for just a raffle. Yeah,
Oh,
they
okay.
were just raffling them off, and I think we auctioned them off and gave some for giveaways and whatnot. And I did not keep one after all that.
Well, that's good. That's a good minor league baseball employee.
Yeah.
They're for the fans, Dan. They're
Yes,
for the
yes.
fans. Now, our 2018 season will be here before we know it. We, of course, are always super excited about the lookouts who have played for us and seeing what they're going to do as they continue to move up and hopefully make an impact for the Twins. But speak about a couple of the prospects who, were playing at the Twins' lower levels this year that, possibly we could see in Chattanooga this season.
Sure, and this is possibly.
Of course.
Yes,
we have no idea
no
who's
clue.
coming.
But we like to guess.
We like to guess. Or just players in general
yeah.
that are kind of the young players in the Twins system that people should be excited about.
I think Brent Rooker. I don't think we'll see him right off the bat, but he's a guy that was drafted last year, second round, SEC guy, and he came and smashed, I think it was 18 home runs between two levels. I think he's got a great bat, and I think he'll move up quickly. There's also Royce Lewis, who was the number 1 overall pick. He's really young. Probably won't see him for a while.
He did have a great start, for Elizabethan last year.
Yeah, he really did. Also made it to Cedar Rapids, so I think he'll stay there for a while. But he's also a dynamic Byron Buxton-like, player. One of those guys that you want to come out and see.
Now, throughout the year, always, we have guys who are moving up, coming down. There's always so much roster turnover. It seems like by the end of the season, we probably, have turnover at least 40% of our roster, if not more. But, one thing people might not know is how does that process work, both on your end and what you do as our, media and public relations manager, working with the Twins, talking to local media here as well, and then also for the player, what's that process when, the Twins have decided that, whoever, Nick Gordon's going up to Rochester, what happens then?
Yeah, well, so I get an email. I get an email from the director of development, usually listed transactions, and it'll say, hey, Nick Gordon, comes up or goes down, and then, whoever the corresponding move is. And I'll take that and I'll go down usually to the manager just to make sure we're good to go. Because sometimes you get it and the player doesn't know yet. And you never want to break the news to the player. You never want to be
it's the
that
manager's
guy.
job.
Yeah, that's the manager's job.
So do you check with the manager first, or?
Yeah, depending on if, just I'll ask, like, Jake was really good, I'd ask Jake and he'd be like, yeah, hold off on that or go ahead, and then we'll send it to the league and print out a new roster.
Print out a new roster.
Yep,
you went all the way through there.
Uh-huh.
Cool. So, what are you excited? Or I guess I should say. I guess the next question would be, this is about the time of year. Sometime usually December or January is when we find out who our 20 or our next season coaching staff is going to be for the Lookouts. Could be the same exact coaching staff as the year before, or it could be all new people. Could be a mix of each. But do you have any idea when Lookouts fans we might be able to share who the 2018 Lookouts coaching staff is going to be?
I'm hoping it's soon. I'm hoping it's before Christmas. Maybe that's a little, maybe first of the year right after, but hopefully soon. I'm really excited about it. We'll probably see some familiar faces, and I know we'll probably see some familiar players next year too.
Yeah, now that's another thing, a lot of people, ask questions to me about is, they'll ask in November or December or whenever, they'll say, hey, is, John Rodriguez going to be back with the Lookouts? Is TJ White going to be with the Lookouts next year? Talk a little bit about how, the kind of setting the minor league roster system works, and how, us and the players, they often don't know where they're going until hours before they're headed on a plane to Chattanooga or Cedar Rapids or wherever.
Yeah, I mean, the rosters really aren't finalized until, a couple days before opening day in April. We really don't get them. We get a tentative sheet maybe late March, but we really don't know until they show up. And even then it can change. Right now is probably one of the most, tumultuous times because we have a lot of minor league free agents, including John Rodriguez. The Rule 5 drafts tomorrow, and that's, we'll probably lose some players.
Are there anybody that jumps to the top of your head that's an unprotected player in the Twins organization that there's a good chance could get selected by another team?
Nick Birdie, and I think that name will sound familiar. He throws 100 miles per hour. He's been hurt, but he's coming back, and he's awesome. Hopefully he'll be 100% healthy and be able to play in, maybe late this year or 2019.
Yeah, he's another guy you just feel bad for. He's had multiple long-term injuries, but hopefully he can finally get healthy, and he's still young, still got that chance to get up there. But because of the way you have to protect players and you only get so many slots, Birdie is left unprotected, but because of his potential and his
Right.
ability to throw so
Sounds like-
hard,
yep.
he could.
And he's already throwing, so looks like he might be taken. But we'll see tomorrow.
Were there any other, big kind of, waiver moves or any 40-man, decisions that might have happened, a couple months ago, either players that were with the Lookouts last year, maybe a couple years ago? I know Daniel Palka, I believe, was on the move.
Yeah, he's on the move. Steven Gonzalez was added, so he's safe, and he's
Talk about Gonzalez for a
Yeah.
minute. He's a guy who we saw for parts of 2 of the last seasons with us. He's a guy who just seems like a guy that knows how to pitch to me. Big, strong. He's a guy I see with no knowledge or skill at all, being a contributing starting pitcher at the major league level. What kind of stuff does he have? What makes him so dominant?
whole bunch of stuff. I mean, he doesn't have that 100-mile per hour fastball that a Nick Birdie does, but he's just, as Larry would say, he doesn't throw, he pitches. Larry being our broadcaster, he just finds his spots and just does a great job. And hopefully, we might see him in the big leagues this year, which would be really cool.
You think he has a chance of getting
Yeah.
all the way up there
Yep.
this year? He's a guy. Hopefully, will start up at least with the
Right.
Rochester. We always hate when guys don't come back to us, but we also love it because it means they're moving
Yep.
up. So, Dan, that's pretty much the list of questions I had. Was there anything else that we had talked about that you're like, you forgot to ask that, or anything like that? What are you kind of most excited for to see, on the field next season?
I think Nick Gordon, if he does come back, I think he's going to take a huge step, and I think he's just a great player. It'll be really fun to see him again, even though I don't think they'll be here that long.
If he is, maybe.
If he is,
so you want to get your tickets early?
Yeah, get your tickets early. Maybe to opening day.
Maybe on April 5th, Thursday, April 5th, 2018.
See some fireworks.
6:15 p.m. You can see fireworks. So, Dan, thank you so much for joining us today. Folks,
Thanks, Aaron.
thank you so much for watching. Aaron, great job after the first 6 minutes or so. Wonderful, wonderful work. Now I just kind of go through a couple different news and notes with the Lookouts, as we've hinted at here today in our newsletter and on social media. Very exciting that we were officially able to announce our firework dates for our 2018 season. We are going to have 18 post-game fireworks show next year, which I believe will be a record for the Lookouts. They are going to start on Thursday, April 6th on opening day. That'll be a 6:15 day as we celebrate the start of the 2018 season and, of course, our 2017 championship as well. We'll have fireworks after all 12 Friday home games, as always, because it is Fireworks Friday. And then we'll also have fireworks on Saturday, May 12th, Sunday, May 27th, Thursday, June 7th, Saturday, June 23rd, and Wednesday, July 4th at 6:15, our Independence Day celebration spectacular. You, of course, can lock in seats for all of our fireworks day with Lookouts mini plans. 7, 14, or 21 game packages are available. They start at just $56. Give Aaron a call. He will take great care of you. And right now, we got our Lookouts mini plan holiday special going on. For every 2 mini plans you purchase, you'll get a $20 gift card to use in the Lookouts team store. For Lookouts concession stands, you can get a 2017 Lookouts championship t-shirt if you want as well. We still have our Toys for Tots donation going. That will go till Tuesday of next week. So stop on by Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 to drop off your Toys for Tots toy donations in the Lookouts team store. And also, for being a good person and helping out a family in need, we'll give you a ticket for our 2018 opening day for your Toy for Tot donation. And also, we still have Lookout Santagrams available. Those will be delivered on December 20 and 21st. And what it is you can choose between 2 great packages that will then be wrapped and hand-delivered to the person of your choice by none other than Louis the Lookout himself. He'll be dressed up in a holiday spirit, and he's excited to head on out there. So someone you work with, a kid at school, something that'll be fun that's a little different, give them a present on the 20th or 21st of December with Lookout Santagrams. You can visit lookouts.com for info on that. We also still have a couple of positions to fill for our Lookouts assistantships for the 2018 season. Those start on February 1st. We're still looking for an assistant groundskeeper, a ticket sales assistant, or a ticket groups outings assistant, as well as a merchandise assistant. So if you are interested and have recently graduated college and want to find out what it's like to work for the Chattanooga Lookouts in minor league baseball, it is awesome, Dan. You should head to lookouts.com for more information on that. Again, of course, group outings are on sale. You can buy an all-you-can-eat picnic in our Park Ridge Picnic Pavilion, Budweiser Party Deck, all our suites, our season tickets, mini plans as mentioned. We can fit any need you have. Just give us a call or visit lookouts.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much, Dan. We're going to be back in January with episode 5 of Lookouts Lookin' for. Stay tuned for that. Have a great Christmas, everyone. Enjoy the holidays and have a very happy new year. We'll see you in 2018.